As you walk through the valley of the shadow of hell, you will realize that there is something ahead. Something that lurks behind the dark veil. A veil that is beyond our own comprehension. Beyond the void.
What's up, guys, and welcome back to Beyond the Void
Horror Podcast.
That's right, it's episode 113.
Unlucky for some.
So we just got back from watching the new Halloween 2018 movie, and we have a lot of thoughts to talk about. I don't want to spoil anything just yet. We've got a lot of things to say.
I have questions.
We have questions. We have, I don't know. It's going to be an interesting episode, so you're going to want to stick around for that. And by the way, guys, just so you know, we're going to be doing a spoiler-free review first, and then we'll give you plenty of fucking warning to know when we're going to get into the spoiler territory. So don't worry if you haven't seen the movie just yet, but hopefully we can spread some light on the movie in general so that you can get an idea of if this is something you want to see. Odds are you're going to see it anyway. So how have you been doing, though, Brittany? What's going on with you?
I'm good. Just working too much.
Just working a lot? Doing school a lot?
Work and school is my entire life right now.
Yeah, I've just been doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes here, trying to... This week it's been a little slower because we didn't have to watch and do research for all these extra movies and everything like that. Even though I did watch a lot of show, we've been catching up on The Cult. Mm-hmm. And, you know, where I left off is where it actually was good. And now that I'm, like, getting deeper into it, it's getting silly as fuck. And I'm just, like, not buying it. And so I'm not 100% sure. I mean, I'm still anxious to see Apocalypse, but, man, The Cult. Did you ever finish it?
Cult?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You said you were watching on Netflix, right?
Yeah, we finished it like that week I brought it up.
Yeah?
Actually.
Okay. What did you think of it?
Oh, actually, no, I didn't see the first couple episodes, if that's what you mean by finished it.
Ah,
But
okay.
no, I'm not going to go back and watch them. So I already know how it ends, so I'm like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah.
I know what happens.
Okay, well, I remember you saying something about rewatching it, but I know Apocalypse has been saying it's like they just had one of their best episodes ever.
Yeah, everybody's pretty much behind that one, so I'm like, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see, because I'm still surprised that this sometimes, like, the stuff that they do, I'm just like, really?
Well, I'm always shocked about what they can get away with on regular television.
I won't say what happens, but there was a guinea pig scene in the Cult, and for whatever reason,
yeah.
it really
I know what one you're talking about.
really made me sad. But anyway, because I had a guinea pig named Hermie back in the day, and it kind of upset me.
Stupid.
But anyway, guys, so I think it might be that time.
Is it Halloween yet?
HORRORSHOTS! All right, guys, so as you know, we're going to be watching Halloween. In preparation, we watched both the original Halloween and the second Halloween to kind of get an understanding of what this one was and if it belongs or is it better or worse or whatever. But we decided to pick one that would probably embrace all three, which they talk about is the shape. So what is in the shape drink? Well, obviously, it's Michael Myers. He's playing the shape. So what other way to celebrate a shot than to have Myers rum in it? So you're going to pour half a shot of Myers rum, a quarter of a shot of pumpkin spice creamer, and a fourth of Fireball on top. So in that order, rum, pumpkin spice creamer, a quarter of that, and then a quarter of Fireball, and you got yourself the shape. Would you drink that?
Yeah, that pumpkin spice creamer is like my lifeblood. I love that shit.
Christina likes it too, but I kind of like got worn out.
I suck up on that shit. Like, I'm like a squirrel.
Well, white people love that shit, don't they?
Yeah, it's basic white bitch. Like, That's literally fuel for the basic white girl.
That's how we get out there and get to work.
I buy a bunch of it like on sale when it's like about to get discounted, and then I throw it in my freezer.
You know, we did last year, but I think it would taste good in this shot. Myers rum and the pumpkin spice go well together, and I think the Fireball is just a little extra kick to, you know, and I don't like Fireball, but, you know.
No one does anymore unless you're 12.
But if you guys would love to try the shape, all you have to do is go to longlivethevoid.com and check out our hashtag horror shot section now. Now, I think it's time for us to go ahead and jump into Halloween 2018. Now, to give you guys a heads up, we're not going to spoil anything in the beginning. We'll give you spoiler warning after that to go into the details and specifically what we liked or disliked about this movie. But we'll wrap everything up in the spoiler-free section with a score, and then we'll jump into the spoiler-free. So we'll go ahead and do that right now. Now it's time for the shape to come out of the shadows again, 40 years later. Let's break down what the movie was. Laurie Strode comes to her final confrontation with Michael Myers, the masked figure who has haunted her since her narrowly escaping his killing spree on Halloween night 4 decades ago.
4.
40 years ago.
40.
The film was directed by David Gordon Green, who is a producer and a director. He's done many, many, many films, including producing and directing in Eastbound and Down, which was the Danny McBride TV series, which makes perfect sense since Danny McBride was one of the people that got this movie to happen. He was also a director of Pineapple Express and many other films. Friday Night Lights, he's actually going to be redoing, I guess. So it's going to be interesting. But yeah, so he's the director. Some of the people who wrote this are David Gordon Green, Danny McBride, and Jeff Fradley. I think I'm saying his name. Fradley? I think it's Fradley. Could be Frade or Fred. Fred, what's up?
Fred.
How you doing, Fred?
Off my lawn.
Can we be any more disrespectful?
Probably.
Oh, wait, just wait. No,
Challenge accepted.
Some of the actors in this movie is obviously Jamie Lee Curtis comes back as Laurie Strode. We got Judy Greer, who has been in many comedies.
Outlaw Country.
Yeah, what's some of your favorite stuff she's been in?
Fucking Archer.
Okay. She was also in Ant-Man. And
she's also in a show called Married that was fantastic that I don't know why it got canceled, but it did, and it was
hilarious. I remember that. Is that the one? Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. She's been in a lot of comedies, but I think she did a decent job in this.
Comedic actress.
It was a little jarring at first for me, but
I was so
also
excited because I forgot she was in it.
Also, it stars Andy Amatichak, who plays Allison, the daughter of Judy Greer's character, Karen, who is the daughter of Laurie Strode. Also, Nick Castle dons the mask to become the shape once again. But Nick Castle's only doing a sort of cameo. In fact, the majority of the shape, or Michael Myers, is played by James Jude Courtney, which I think he did a pretty damn good job. There's many other people in there. I'm really just kind of glossing over some of this so that you guys know. And before we get started on our spoiler-free discussion and our thoughts, I just want to preface this by saying everybody has a different thing that they like about Michael Myers, Halloween 1, Halloween 2, the entire franchise. They may love the entire franchise. They may hate some of the franchise. They may hate the whole series. So everybody has a little bit of a different opinion. But I think going into this discussion, I want you guys to understand that everybody has a different opinion, and we don't speak for everybody else. We're just speaking from our own personal opinion. And I think that this is one of those kind of movies that, one, it's hard to taper your expectations, so that always makes it very difficult, usually calls for a second viewing, and two, what I like about the franchise or what I like about Michael Myers may be very different for somebody else. What Brittany likes for the franchise or Michael Myers or the tone of films may be very different from other people. So this is just our opinions before we go in. So we hope we do it justice and we tell you honestly what we feel about it. Either way, you guys are going to fucking see it anyway, so it doesn't really fucking matter what we say. We're really just here to discuss and back up why we liked or disliked this film. So, without further ado, let's do this.
So,
Get your butt wipes out.
yeah, this, I went into this, like, hoping that we were going to find a happy balance between, like, the original movie and Rob Zombie's versions.
Right. Well, I feel like that's what they tried to aim for.
They sort of aimed for it and then just missed the target completely.
Well, it was supposed to be like the originals, but
Which I understand. Like, I get that, and it feels very much like it, but I don't know. Like,
yeah, guys, it's hard for us because if you look at the movie on its own, sort of in a way, it has some parts in it that are good, right?
it's okay. It's aight. Like, someone asks, like, what'd you think? It's aight. Like, do I hate it? No. I'm struggling here because, like, I love Halloween. Like, I love the franchise. I love the movies. Like, even how ridiculously awful they end up getting towards the end there. Like,
yeah,
I
a lot of
still
them.
like them. Like, one of my favorite scenes ever is in 6.
Well, it's weird,
And I
too.
always forget that Paul Rudd's in that fucking one. And I
Right.
fucking love Paul Rudd.
Right,
and
because he
every time I
plays
see
Tommy,
him, I'm
the
like,
kid across the street.
yeah, he plays Tommy. And I'm just like, oh, my God. It's Paul Rudd. He's so cute.
Which is funny
He
because...
still looks the same age.
If you guys have ever seen Halloween 666 or the producer's cut, that shit goes cuckoo bananas.
Shit gets crazy, like later in the franchise.
The producer's cut in particular, though, is like batshit crazy. They cut that shit down and made Halloween 666. I think that in a lot of ways, this has kind of gone a little sideways too. This movie, I don't want to shit on everybody's fucking dreams here, but it's just my opinion and her opinion. Really doesn't mean that you won't enjoy it, but I will say that I am a little disappointed by it. I was going in low expectations because one, I'm not too happy that they were going to remove the second one and basically what everybody's saying, retcon this movie basically and cut out the second one. And
Stupid,
just
because I love the second one.
I've always felt that most people feel that the first two are somewhat canon and that you shouldn't really fuck with those. And so what do? Instead of replacing and making an actual Halloween 3, which is what I thought they were going to do. But to be fair, I mean, it is kind of hard to pick up where the second one left off, let's be honest. But I still like this film, by the way, guys. Like, I like it a lot. I think it's a good movie. If you're a slasher fan, it's an amazing movie. So you're going to love it either way. But there were some choices in this movie that really got under my skin a little bit, and it kind of confused me and threw me off. So they cut out and made part 2. So this is 40 years later. It's technically filling the gap of what 2 was supposed to be. So, and really, the movie is like called Halloween, which makes no sense. It's really a reboot or reimagining of part 2 by borrowing from others in a lot of ways. But they wanted to retell the second movie in their own personal way.
Yeah.
Did it accomplish that, Brittany? What do you think?
I don't know. I feel like this could be a weird third part. I mean,
in some ways,
this fits a whole lot more than Season of the Witch does, so I'll take it because I'd rather watch this than that any day.
Yeah.
I mean, and I don't know. I will say for me, I agree with what a friend of mine said too, is that this is like in order. Like number 1's my favorite, first one, the original. The second one is number 2 for me, and then this is probably in like number 3.
And
like
you
the
hated the
entire
Rob
franchise.
Zombie ones?
I did not actually. I don't consider that, like, to me those are like standalone though. Like I feel like they're not like.
There's some good and bad in his stuff too.
They're his own. Like they're their own though. Like
when I first saw that Halloween though that Rob Zombie did, it was a really slow start, but it felt really brutal.
I loved it.
And it was different, like it kind of felt like it gave Michael Myers some sort of different, in a lot of ways it had some of the same brutality as the Friday the 13th franchise. So it was almost like Rob's like version of that. You know what I
It
mean?
was all about Michael.
Extremely brutal and trying to explain what Michael was. This one tries to supposedly go back to that. Like I was saying, I went in with this with low expectations because of the part 2 removal thing. And now watching this, first of all, it took about half the movie, more than half. I'd say like almost 50 minutes into the movie, 55 minutes into the movie till I was actually kind of interested in what was going on and when the killings started to happen. There's a lot of gore in this movie. There's a lot of nods to all kinds of different Halloween movies, by the way. And we'll get into those in the spoiler section, but we won't say what those things are. But there are some very heavy, kind of cute homages that pale in comparison, in my opinion. Although there is one gore scene in this movie that I was like, holy shit, Jesus Christ.
It was cool.
That was cool.
That was the goriest scene, though.
I feel like this movie...
I felt like the rest of it was like, okay, that's all right. Like, I don't feel like it's 2018 gore.
Well, you see Laurie Strode. She's older. She's losing her mind. She's never let go of this whole thing. Everything comes to the end where the big showdown of everything is that you would assume. They throw a couple weird twists in there that were unnecessary, in my opinion. I didn't understand one in particular. I
don't get it.
Yeah, there was like a sort of Dr. Loomis-y kind of guy who took over after Michael Myers that just took a really hard, sharp turn that I did not like.
Nope. Not at all. It almost ruined the entire movie for me, to be honest. Like, I was just like...
There is some good scenes in this movie that I did enjoy and thought was entertaining. For a mainstream movie, this is kind of in line with a mainstream movie. It didn't feel like... Christina said that it felt to her like it was like a 70s movie nowadays.
Oh, yeah, and I turned to Mouse like twice, and I was like, what year are we supposed to be in? Because no one fucking dresses like that.
Right.
Nobody dresses like this. It's supposed to be now. Because I'm assuming because there's no like date for us to attach onto, so I'm guessing it's supposed to be present day, especially because it's 40 years later,
right?
Essentially, and I'm like, okay, so this is supposed to be like this year or around this year, and I'm like, but yet everybody is dressing like they're in the fucking 70s.
Well, I think what they were trying to do is...
I don't understand.
They were trying to film in the style of that, but they also wrote it in a modern way, too.
Yeah, it's just weird. Like,
it was tonally really kind of patchy, like extremely patchy. Like, typically, when a horror movie, for me, like a good one, it kind of builds and builds and builds and builds and builds, and then it breaks, and then you're just like in this elated sort of crazy space for however long until the end of the movie, and then it's like, and you exhale. Well, I just felt like throughout the movie that I was not having that build. It was building and breaking, building and breaking, and building and breaking, and it didn't have that upward slant that it was supposed to have until about the 55 minute mark.
Yeah.
I can't confirm that when that is, but it's there is a kill that involves a kid.
Awesome, by the way.
Which was pretty yeah, it was pretty cool.
I wasn't scared. Nothing scared me.
No.
Nothing made me uncomfortable. Nothing made me nervous. Like,
did you get any chills at any point?
I didn't get chills. I didn't get any goose pimples. Like, nothing. I literally was just like, okay.
My ass was starting to hurt during the movie.
My ass did hurt. And I was like, when I had to pee, I was like, well, I guess there's plenty of times for me to go pee during this. I'm not going to miss anything. So I just finally got up and went pee, and I came back and sat down. And I was all, Mouse, did I miss anything? And he's like, I don't know. I was asleep. And I'm like, oh, great. Awesome.
Right.
But I know I didn't because it was just the cops talking about nothing. So
well, I want to be very clear to people, though, too, that this isn't me just disliking the movie because they replaced the second one. Me having some sort of weird grudge, by the way. Like, I went into this with open eyes. I went into it to hopefully have it sort of change my opinion, and because I've kind of been a little reserved about if this movie was going to be as good as it is. Now, currently, Rotten Tomatoes has...
It's like an 83%.
82%.
That's going to change in the morning.
Yeah, of all critics, it's 82%. Top critics gave it 76%.
When I first heard about this, I was not excited about it because I'm like, can we stop beating a dead horse? The horse is dead. Let it be dead. Stop kicking it. Like, Rob Zombie already did this. It wasn't that fucking long ago. Like, his first attempt was good. His second attempt was garbage. Like, just leave it the fuck alone. And Dr. Loomis is great, too. Like, and I love him and his whole character. Like,
Right.
Donna Pleasant's fucking awesome. Like, rest in peace, dude. But I don't know. And Jamie Lee Curtis, I mean, that's her breakout, like, original Scream Queen type. Like, that's how she got the title, you know? Like,
well, not
and
just
then
that.
she created that entire, like, idea.
She pretty much got her career from that movie.
Yeah, and then, I don't know. Like, this is a franchise that's really special to me in a lot of ways. So I felt like at first when I heard Rob Zombie was doing it, I'm just like, no, please don't.
Right.
But I saw it because I liked Devil's Rejects and House of Thousand Corpses, and I was like, we'll give it a try. And I really liked it. Like, I really, really liked his first one, and a lot of that was because of his, like, who he picked to play in that movie.
But comparing it to this one.
But to this, I mean, they're different movies.
Yeah.
Honestly, like they're completely and entirely different. Like, his are more about the story of Michael and the essence of Michael and like why Michael is Michael. And that's why I like what he did, because his feel like more like a prequel type thing, like that lead into this awesome horror movie that actually scares you,
Right.
and freaks you the fuck out. And where this was like, to me, it kind of felt like an accurate like third movie, you know, like just a little bit further in the future, because the second one takes place literally right after the first one ends. Like, they play the first 5 minutes.
Well,
The first 5 minutes of the second movie are the
Well,
end
yeah, but
of-
you know what they've removed from this one, right? That makes it overlap part 2, right? He's not the brother of Laurie Strode.
Oh, yeah, I caught that like little comment, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Wasn't her brother? And she's like, no, someone just said that for whatever reason. And I was just like, what?
Yeah, Laurie's just a tortured soul, etc. Do you think she pulled it off? Like, did she? You were saying you weren't really thrilled about her
No, I
performance.
wasn't. Like, I don't know. I wasn't that moved by Jamie Lee Curtis's performance for this. I was just like, oh.
You felt that it was a
whole
little
time
over
I was
top,
like,
or
oh,
what?
God. Like, I didn't buy it.
Okay, so it felt forced.
It felt forced, yeah.
Okay.
Like, it all felt forced. And that could just be from, like, the dialogue, because the dialogue throughout this movie was, you know, kind of poor. So
It was weird. Like, they had this, like...
they had good jokes, but the rest of it was stupid, which makes perfect sense to me.
That's
So,
the weird thing about this. Like, I've noticed, like, there was, like, it's like tonally, it's just all over the place. Like, it doesn't know whether to be an entertaining movie now or straight-laced, like, horror movie from the past.
Right.
And it's like, it's almost like Christina said, and I agree with her. She said it's like how they treated Star Wars. Like, there's too many hands of the pot, and they're, you know, it's like tonally all over the place because they're trying to put their own piece in it. And they're like, well, if I just add raisins and strawberries and yogurt and pasta, all the things that I like, I put in this, then it'll be congruent and be flush with each other. And it just didn't do it.
Yeah, like I don't know. Like I didn't expect to be going in to watch a horror comedy. So, and I mean, I love horror comedies as much as a lot of people do, but this wasn't what I was expecting, and I don't feel like this is the franchise or the movie specifically to do that with. Like, I get like one or two little stupid jokes here and there, but to me the movie from start to finish felt like it was a joke. It didn't feel
Kind of
serious.
spoofy, yeah.
Yeah, it felt like it was like a little bit more of a serious attempt at like a scary movie.
Yeah, it's
like,
and I know some of you guys listening are going to be like, "Fuck you," you know,
Totally.
because like we were talking about it when we left the theater, and I said I feel like this is going to cause a lot of fights between people in the horror community, because there's those people who are just like, "This is going to be the best thing ever," and they just went all in on, you know, here's all my chips, you know, it's going to be good, and it's going to be hard to come
take
back.
that back, yeah.
Or they're just going to be completely pissed, or maybe they'll, you know, I don't know. Like, I'm not saying that anybody that likes this movie is stupid or doesn't realize it, but for us, it really did feel kind of spoofy. There was very enjoyable moments in the film, though, that I did enjoy, but you're right. It didn't take itself. It was a little, I mean, it's written by Danny McBride, too.
And it feels like it. So
Yeah.
it feels like, especially as soon as you mentioned that the one guy directed Pineapple Express and worked on Eastbound and Down, I was like, there it is. Like,
right. All
like-
those nod-heavy segments and parts that they put in there that they pretty much either... Well, there's one scene that they almost directly take from part 2, the original part 2. and they changed it around a little bit, but a lot of the same camera work is in the, it's almost the same alleyway. It felt like the same scene almost, only just a different angle and stuff, and it did it a little bit differently. There's a lot of nods to part 1, part 2, and even Rob Zombie. That the goriest scene in the movie is taken directly from Rob Zombie's part 2.
It's crazy.
Which is weird because I didn't think about that until the end. And I was like, oh, how weird. So I know that scene probably will make people happy if you're a gorehound. But in the same regard, I think it might piss somebody like Rob Zombie off. Like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah, for real. Like, it's like a lot of this just didn't. And it's hard when you're remaking a movie or trying to create your own movie in an already known, well-known and made franchise that's old.
Right.
Like, it's difficult to do something creative with it and not take it totally off track. So I understand, but at the same time, like, while there was a lot of cute little, like, nods to the first 2 movies, which was great, but a lot of it felt like it was just literally ripped right out of those 2 movies, and they didn't change a whole lot about it.
Right.
And I was like, come on. Like...
Which I think is a fair argument to be had. I mean, if you're throwing in a lot of nostalgia in the movie, it's kind of like just borrowing from a lot of the franchise instead of actually creating some new thing while still keeping the atmosphere. So I think, you know, there's going to be some people that absolutely love the nostalgia trips and it's a good thing, while there might be some people that might feel that that's sort of a cheap grab. So, I mean, I think it's completely valid to feel that way. Either way. And that's not to say, oh, well, why did they do that? We're not complaining about it. I still enjoyed the movie. I think we both enjoyed the movie very much, but you know, we're being a little bit more critical because this is the Halloween franchise, and there's a lot of films to compare it to for something as big as Halloween. But there are some really good things in it. And the other thing I want to mention is that the music in it was actually really good.
The music was awesome.
I thought it was really
That was
good.
the
John
best part.
Carpenter even had one new song in there that I really liked, when the Allison chick, and we're not going to say what happens.
Oh, no.
But when she and Michael, you know what I mean, at that part, the music that he made right there, I was really into. And I thought I was like, wow, this is kind of using some of the same, you know, sounds, but making its own thing and kind of more current. And I thought it was really cool. So
Yeah. There was another scene, too, that it's not even a Halloween movie, but that totally felt like a Rob Zombie ripoff, too, that I just remembered. But not from his versions of Halloween, but from, like, House of 1,000 Corpses.
And what we'll do is mark that in your head. We'll talk about that in the spoiler section for sure. Just like I'll talk about the scene. It's like I'm having a lot of struggle here, guys. Like, on one hand, if I were to look at it as a mainstream new movie and just like it wasn't Halloween and it was just some fucking movie, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there is some elements in it that I thought were interesting, but the way they mish and mash it with somewhat of one of what some people consider to be the slasher of all time.
Yeah.
Even though it's not the first, mixing them together is kind of like, it throws you off a little bit. And having those nods in it, you know, some people will consider it to be fan service. Some others might feel like it's cheap grab, like I was saying, but you know, and it is like, because the two combinations of what they're doing, like the modern horror, like if it was a new slasher all on its own, versus the old one, it kind of mixes a little weird, I think. Whereas like when we watched Mandy, which is weird because they're taking art house and grindhouse and mixing the two, this felt a little off. Which, I mean, you have to please the newer crowd as well as the older crowd, so it's not an easy juggling act by any means. Mandy was a brand new movie with a brand new story. It had no franchise, no sequels, or anything to compare it to, so it's a little easier to be okay with that versus a Halloween sequel. Or reboot, or whatever you want to call it. And I think it was because it had more of a mainstream approach than it did an artistic approach.
Yeah.
But it really just feels like there's something there was not pieces connecting very well.
It didn't click. Nothing clicked.
I liked some of the camaraderie of the family. Like, there was by the end of the movie, I was like kind of elated at one point in time. I won't explain what that is, but you know, by the end of the movie, it did pick up a little bit. Came up to a big ending, but I don't know if I was 100% happy with it by the end. Like, it's kind of poetic, but not. I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to try to be opinionated about it. I did like some of the gore. I did like some of the nods, but they became a little too much. And that's why Christina was saying, hey, maybe they're trying to do like, Star Wars, the new Star Wars movies are doing by adding so many pieces of nostalgia that you forget about that the movie's not as good as you think it is. Yeah, like, so, I mean, if you had to give this a score, what would you give it a score of?
Probably like a 6.
Really? I mean, I'd have to see it again to really nail it down.
Yeah.
I would definitely watch it again. Really what it boils down to is, did I love it? No. I don't think I loved it. I liked it. I think it's a good movie. One thing I do want to mention, if you've seen the trailer, then you've seen the movie just about.
Basically, yeah.
Other than the weird twist that they threw in that was unnecessary and the end scene, I mean, you pretty much saw a lot of the greatest parts of the film, which kind of ruined it for me. Mm-hmm. And I almost feel kind of like I shouldn't be watching trailers because of that.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I don't watch them, is because it ruins a lot of it for me. Because I feel like most of the time they put the best shit in the trailers, and then when I go and see the movie, I'm like, okay.
Right. Like all the cherry pick scenes didn't really jive with me because I think maybe it could have lost some of the steam.
They do a good job of selling it, though, I'll tell you that, because when I first saw the trailer, I was like, all right, this looks cool.
Right.
Like, I'm ready to see, Laurie Strode, like, whoop some fucking ass. Like, I'm ready.
I was interested, and then I became reserved because I thought, like I said, it was going to be part 3. That would have been the perfect movie to make. Nobody would have been offended by it. Nobody would have stepped on anybody's fucking toes.
Most people hate part 3, so it's fine.
Right. Granted, I understand that at the end of part 2, it's kind of hard to spin a story from what they did to Michael Myers. And if you haven't seen part 2, I don't want to, I guess, spoil it for you. But they do some pretty irreparable damage to him, I would assume. And it would have been a little bit of a difficult story. Although, yeah, it just would have been tough. But
please replace it.
And when we get into the spoilers, I'm going to mention why this is even more prevalent and how they could have just like carried on this whole story and I'll explain and kept the family element, because there's some stuff in the movie that would have made perfect sense and it would have made it more valid than anything.
Right.
Even though, like I mentioned, the end of the original part 2, it's kind of hard. So I sympathize. For me, I would say 6.5. I'd have to see it again. It could go up to a 7, but I wouldn't go any higher than that. Like, yeah. I was just not, it just didn't land with me the way I wanted it. I definitely don't, I've seen far worse movies in the franchise than this.
Oh, yeah.
But it didn't wow me. It didn't blow me away like I really was hoping that it would. And even with me going in with low expectations, it had a lot of room to impress me. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. So
I wanted to be scared, damn it. And like 2 of the trailers that we watched prior to the movie scared me more than this one.
Yeah.
And those were like literally a minute and like 20-second trailers.
There was some cool lighting and stuff in it.
Oh, it was filmed beautifully. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, it was definitely filmed like
there was one scene in the movie that we can't talk about that was a really unique thing that they did that I really loved in the film, and I think that kind of made it better for me. So, but we'll get that in the spoiler section. For me, 6.5, Brittany 6. Yeah, what do you guys think?
I'm not budging from that 6 either. It's a firm 6.
I'll still buy it to add to my collection because I gotta have them all, you know what I mean? Plus, it's not terrible, but you're going to be a little bit more critical on the franchise when you have so many other movies to compare it to. Yeah, I was a little disappointed, guys. What did you think? Have you seen the movie yet? If not, and this is as far as you're going to go, I think it's fair to say that most people will probably enjoy this film. It may be different for every single person, depending on what you liked in the franchise, what you liked about Michael Myers. You know, what we think about this movie might be completely different from what somebody else thinks about it. I know a lot of people who have a completely different order of their favorite movies in the franchise than one another. In fact, I don't know many people that have the same order, because some people don't even like the entire franchise. They only consider the first one or the first 2 as worth anything. So, you know, it's just it's worth going to the theater to find out for yourself, and why not? It's the big screen, right? And I'm sure we may even get shit for saying what we did, but I don't really care. I'm not gonna lie.
Nope.
Do you think that they should have replaced the The second one?
No, I
Okay.
love the second one.
I always liked that it was continuation.
It was awesome.
Like, it just kept going.
Because it literally picks up where the first one takes off, and that's fucking sick.
Right.
I love that because it's literally the first like 5 minutes of the second movie are the last 5 minutes of the first one.
I think some people had issue with it because it wasn't on Halloween, technically.
Yeah, because it's not. And it's the only movie in the entire franchise that actually takes place on November 1st.
Right.
Or it ends on November 1st. And most of the deaths and everything occur on November 1st. And
Right.
and so I get that.
Well, and even, John Carpenter and Deborah Hill wrote the second one, and even though John Carpenter said that he didn't really like the whole brother-sister tie-in with Laurie Strode and Michael Myers, but they wrote it, but he also didn't want people to, know anything about Michael. It was supposed to be this mysterious thing, so maybe that's why. And, maybe people are backing him up on that respect, so, I can respect that. Plus, how the second one ends is, kind of like, whoa. But yeah, guys, I think, I hope, we didn't squash your dreams. Don't be mad at us. Everybody has their own opinions. We all love horror. What do I got to do?
I'll squash your dreams.
Yeah,
fine.
I still
You mad
prefer
at
the
me.
original two, and we're gonna talk about a lot of the comparisons in our spoiler section now. So there's gonna be a lot of talking about the nods they made. Maybe we'll miss one that you guys saw, and you could sound off in the comments or something, or write us personally. We'd always appreciate that. But let us know what you think in the comments about this review here now, and let's jump into the spoiler section. Igor, if you could, please pull the alarm.
Please do not listen to this if you have not seen the movie. That's right, please do not listen after this. If you have not seen the movie, you will indefinitely ruin your experience. Thank you, and have a nice apocalypse.
All right, guys, you got plenty of warnings, so if you're listening past this and you haven't seen the movie yet,
It's your fault.
what can I do? We told you not to fuck around.
You were warned.
So now we get to talk about it. I don't want to just break into it, but did you catch all the nods in it?
Oh, yeah, I got a lot of them.
I get a little confused between the original first two, but
Well, first of all, I will say that I loved his mask. His mask was cool.
right.
And I felt like the mask,
They actually did a good job.
the mask was awesome. And it depicted
Age.
and the original.
Well, and there were some people that were, had a little bit of an issue with a mask aging and getting liver spots, which is fair, but, sometimes you just got to, kind of let that part go just so you can kind of enjoy a new feel, because the mask is Michael's feel, and they've not nailed it many times. So it's nice to see a good one.
And what was one of the cool things was you notice big differences between the mask in the first movie and the second movie. And that's for many different reasons. Like for one, the main actor that played Michael Myers in the first movie kept the mask in his back pocket. Deborah Hill, also after they were done filming, kept the mask under her pillow. And she was a heavy smoker, so it turned it this weird yellow shades and made it look more decayed than it was. And then they lost the original, or they gave the mask, I believe after this second movie. I could be wrong on which movie it was, but they gave it to the actor because they thought it was going to be the last movie in the franchise, and then it just continued on. So then they were like, we're never giving away anything ever again, because then they had to replace it essentially. But I felt like they did a good job of making it feel how it would actually look and how it would be, and it was cool. And so right off the bat for me, when they do the opening credits, the pumpkin disintegrates when they reverse it.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I didn't like the shape of it because they had
stupid.
that large gap between the nose.
It was so dumb.
I was like, wait,
that?
why is it so big right there?
I was like, why isn't it closing? And then it never closes, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, they did that on. Okay.
Oh God, there was the part that we were all like, so in the movie, when they're trapped down in the basement, they have this hidey hole thing, by the way, I want to mention. We were both looked at each other and were like, what the fuck? Michael Myers is upstairs trying to find out where they are, and then she shoots a hole through the floor. Well, it made all sense by the end because she was trying to get him down there to begin with.
Right.
And we didn't know.
But in that moment, I was like, bitch.
I know, why would you do that?
And it was Jamie Lee Curtis, too. So of all of the people, I was just like, are you fucking like I literally looked at you and I was like, so fucking stupid. Like,
I know.
don't
Christina was
understand.
thinking the same thing.
But then it all makes sense. Like once the movie actually like wraps up, you're just like, oh,
You're like, oh, she was trying to trap him.
I got you,
Ah.
Jamie. I got you.
So we got to talk about one of the best scenes. Well, just a really good scene anyway that I was mentioning in the spoiler free, and I think that part was
When they killed the fucking journalists, because why were they even there anyway, and why were they relevant to this movie?
You think that was the best scene?
No, I don't think it was the best scene. I just thought it was like that's when it started getting decent because people started dying. So I was like, now I'm interested.
I thought the scene where the kid that Allison,
After the
Laurie Strode's daughter's her what would it be? Her granddaughter?
granddaughter, yeah.
Her granddaughter is going to some Halloween party at the school's throwing, which, by the way, holy shit, is that what it's like?
No.
In schools? Because they had a fucking pump-it-ass party.
That was a rager.
Right?
It was awesome, but yeah, no. Unless that's changed big time over the last, 10 years that I've been out of high school, but nobody went to high school dances
Right.
when I was in high school.
Well,
Literally no one.
She went to the dance. Her boyfriend acted like a douche. So she left and went home with his best friend. And he was trying to console her and supposed to change her mind to get back with him, I guess, maybe, with her boyfriend or whatever. And they take this shortcut and he tries to kiss her in this backyard. And then she kind of goes at him like she's going to hurt him, and he gets scared and falls back, drops
stupid.
all his beers, which is stupid. But yeah, it was funny though, because he thinks she leaves and he sees Michael in the background, but he thinks it's the neighbor's house. And he was like, I'm sorry. I know,
Shit was funny.
And it's funny because the scene is they have this timer, the light timer. So it's like whenever you move in front of the light outside as floodlights,
It's motion activated.
it's motion activated, so it comes on when anything moves. So you see it happen a couple of times when she leaves, the light goes out, and then he sees the Michael behind him, and then he's not there anymore, and then he's like, hey, where'd you go? Because he obviously thinks it's the neighbor. And then the light comes back on. He's standing in front of the light. He's a little bit closer this time, kind of like a cat.
So cool.
It was cool. I was like, dude, this is cool. I love that light out, light on, and then you just see him get fucking hit, and then he runs and tries to get over this gate, and then it was kind of a stupid death, but
It was a stupid death.
because he should have gotten over that fence. I don't know why he didn't, and it didn't even make it look like he had.
His little Superman cape got caught, though.
Yeah, his Superman cape got caught.
Well, rip it, you little pansy. What the hell are you doing?
Michael stabs him in the back, and then when he dies, his chin falls on the spike of the gate and goes up through his mouth, which was pretty cool. And they had some gurgly noises in there.
He wasn't even up there, though. So I'm like, how did he get that high up? So
He was up there high.
I thought Michael picked him up and put him up there, just for shits and giggles.
Well, it went through his jaw.
But he
well,
didn't die that way. But
I just
okay.
thought it was kind of a cool extra
So that's
little
why
thing.
I was like, oh, Michael, put him up there because he's gross. So I was all excited about it.
That's when the new track comes in that John Carpenter wrote that I thought was really good when Laurie,
Whatever. They're basically the same
Allison,
person.
Laurie Strode's granddaughter, basically comes back to help him because he's panicking and screaming, and she sees him dead, and she's like, oh my God. And then she sees Michael, and then the music kicks, and she screams and it's panicking, and then she darts out from the side of the house into the neighborhood, and I was like, oh, this is going to kick off. That's a pretty cool.
That was cool.
That was a cool little, 3 minutes, and then all of a sudden it's like he's not chasing her anymore. What
Yeah.
the fuck? Why isn't he chasing her anymore? I thought I was like, this is it. This is where it's gonna happen.
No.
And no, she's just sitting on the sidewalk with her friends and neighbors.
Yeah.
While they're feeding her and giving her drinks, and I'm like,
Yeah.
what the fuck is going on?
He's not who she's after. She's not who he's after.
Right. Well, yeah, you
She
find
would've-
that out a little bit
She
because
would have just been an extra at that
she's
point.
kind of inconsequential to him. I mean, it's not like she's inconsequential to the story. Before I forget this, I want to mention, I think that they should have just kept him as the brother, because if you think about at the very end when they're trapping Michael Myers and they're all working together, Laurie Strode, Karen, her daughter, and Karen's daughter, Laurie Strode's granddaughter, fight Michael Myers at the very end. Wouldn't it make sense that it was this big family thing? Because they even allude to she's got the knife in the back, which was stupid cheesy.
It was, but that's exactly what they're making it feel like, is that, like, now is she going to be Michael Myers now?
Did the shape move into her?
Is it in the bloodline? Like, I was just like, that's so dumb.
No, it's not in the bloodline because he's not related, but you know what I mean?
I know.
What I think they were trying to allude to is that they were trying to say, oh, well, maybe she's been through so much trauma that now she's, or maybe the shape shifted into her and took over her and, you know.
I would be a fucking doomsday prepper too if that shit happened to me, is all I have to say. If that shit happened to me and that motherfucker was still alive and able to get out and get me at any point, I would do the same fucking shit. Yeah. So my ass would be a total agoraphobic weirdo who learned how to shoot guns super great and never left my house. That would be a giant barricade. Like,
well, the whole family comes together and you know, they all have their own individual hate or love of what she does. The granddaughter, Allison, loves the grandmother because she feels like she's misunderstood. The mom of the granddaughter Karen is like, oh, I don't want to deal with her because she made my life a living hell. I was scared to live. I was scared to be alive. You know what I mean? All the time I lived and blah, blah, blah. And then they all kind of come together. That's why I say, like, Michael's there now and they're all related.
Yeah, it's a family barbecue.
That's why it should have been that way. And I think it would have been fine. They could have made a part 3 and just done it that way instead of locking him up, or I don't know. It's just so weird. But like I mentioned before, yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to bring him back from part 2. So, I mean, I get it, but I don't know. They have that scene where Michael pushes her over the balcony and then she falls.
Looks and she disappeared.
Right.
I loved that.
I thought that was kind of cool.
It was awesome. And like everybody, you could tell in the theater who'd seen the movie, who knows
you hear him
the
laugh.
original, and who doesn't, because when that happened, everyone was like, ha! It was cute and it was smart. And
I thought it was
that
cute.
part I thought was smart.
I thought it was cute, but I don't know if it makes sense, but it was kind of like one of those moments to me where it was like, where'd she go? Oh, no. You know?
Yeah, it was, I liked it. I thought it was just cute.
It's like, oh, now the hunter is being hunted.
It was a cute tie to the franchise. So
yeah. Yeah, and plus they did that thing with Laurie Strode outside the school of Allison too, so which was kind of a little nod. Did you also see that the babysitter gets killed and she has the white sheet on her head, like the ghost that Michael was wearing?
Yep. There's that. They had him out in between the clotheslines.
Right.
By the sheets, the white sheets or whatever. They had the boy that was impaled with
through
the knife,
the neck, actually.
But he was through the neck, not through the chest.
From the back of his neck into the thing. Yeah.
Held up on the wall with the knife, which is one of my favorite.
But they didn't show it.
No, they didn't, and I was like, come on,
right? I was
you
like,
have
well, that was
technology.
Yeah. That was a missed opportunity, if you ask me.
Big time missed opportunity. Like, and then the whole scene with the older woman.
Oh, yeah, that was the scene that we were talking about, guys. They have the scene directly ripped from part 2, where Michael Myers is basically walking down an alley in a house, and there's some old lady cooking for her husband, and she goes to grab the knife, and she puts it on the cutting board, and he comes in and grabs the cutting board, and everybody always thought, oh, was she going to die or whatever?
Yeah.
And then she just goes to grab it, and there's just blood on the cutting board, and she's like, what the hell?
Well, she starts screaming, yeah.
Right.
But yeah, he doesn't kill them.
No, but they do in this one.
Oh, yeah.
But it was almost like the same 100% beats.
It looked exactly the same. It was
really
super
did.
Crazy.
Which is kind of like, I don't know if he was doing that as an homage to the second one, because when you retcon a fucking movie and it's like cutting out one of the sequels and you're like, fuck that one doesn't exist, is it kind of in bad taste to make an homage to it? Or is it kind of to say, hey, I don't hate it.
Yeah.
This is just my idea.
This is my idea.
Yeah, and after that, obviously, it starts going nuts where he's like going through and killing everybody one by one through the houses, which I thought was pretty cool.
I also liked all the different closet scenes.
Oh, that was another nod because it was like the role reversal.
There were 2. Yeah, they were like role reversed closet moments, and they were the exact same Shutter type closets.
Right.
From the original, and I was just like, that's cute. That's cute.
Yeah, like because Michael was they thought he was hiding in the closet because she was after him.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, you know, like, I didn't mind her going after him. I didn't mind her being strong and, like, a huntress.
I did like this whole, like, woman power thing.
Right,
like,
yeah, I didn't mind that.
To win at the end, and I'm like, fuck yeah.
I was like, it was kind of cool, like, seeing her, like, go after him, you know, because that was, like, a whole new thing that you never really saw. You know what I mean?
I was like really stoked for the whole time. Like when I saw the trailer, I was just like, Jamie Lee Curtis is about to open a can of whoop ass. Like
Right.
I'm so stoked.
But I think it kind of like lost itself in there because of it.
It kind of fizzled. Yeah, I don't know.
It didn't. I don't think it landed the way that we wanted it to in that sense. It did the strong woman thing and her going after him and her getting that payback for everything that he did to her. And I felt that, but it was just kind of like, I don't know. And it was realistic. It wasn't like she was just manhandling Michael Myers. You know what I mean? She wasn't just like bitch slapping him.
All of a sudden, like a superwoman, like, yeah.
Oh, you wearing your mask, huh? And she's all sitting on him and punching him.
Stop hitting yourself. Stop hitting yourself.
You see a little tear like come out of his mask.
Great. I'm sorry. I would have died. I would have fucking died. Like, I mean, they should have done that because at this point it was basically a fucking comedy. So they should have just done something like that.
Let's talk about some of the funny parts. Oh,
that fucking kid.
Oh, also before we get into that, I want to mention one of the ones that I was talking about. The one that I think they ripped directly from Rob Zombie was the head smashing scene.
Yep.
Because in the second Halloween that Rob Zombie did, they smashed the fucking bouncer's fucking head outside, or it was either some alcohol. He was some guy that worked at the strip club. Remember? And he goes outside and he's like, "What the fuck do you want?" And then Jason.
He smashes Danny Trejo's head with a TV too.
I don't remember that, but I remember, you know, the guy that was in 31. And he was like,
"Yeah,
everyone loves popcorn in hell."
Yeah.
That guy. Hold on, let me look his name.
I can't remember. I can never remember if it's the first or the second one, but he smashes Danny Trejo is like his cellmate or like his prison friend or whatever.
Right, yeah, that was in the thing. He
smashes his head with a TV, and I was like, why though? Why, Michael? That's your friend. That's Danny fucking Trejo. Fuck you. I was so mad.
Yeah, this one was Richard Brake gets his head smashed in. I'm pretty sure he pops his fucking head. I can't remember if he smashed it on the trash can or they had a wrestle near the trash can, but I'm pretty sure Michael Myers stomps on his fucking head and it pops like a zit. And that scene where he stomps on the fucking on the doctor's head was pretty fucking awesome.
It was awesome.
But especially because the doctor thought that he could be like Michael. And then in some way, he wanted to be like Michael, to understand him because he was so obsessed with why Michael wouldn't talk. Like, talk to me, Michael, please. And then he fucking stomps on his head, which I guess is a little gratifying. Say something. And he's like, yeah, sure, no problem.
So annoying.
Pop.
So annoying. He was so annoying that fucking...
Can we talk about that?
The reporters were so annoying.
Let's talk about what happened with him. Like, what the fuck?
Okay, so Hawkins...
Yeah, Officer Hawkins, who was from the first movie, I guess he was one of the first to report on to show up on the scene of the first movie.
Is driving Allison and the doctor to try and find Michael. This is after they pick up Allison after he's chased her around, right? And so they find him, and Hawkins just rams him over with the fucking police SUV, which I was like, oh, okay. I guess I'd do that too. I don't know. I don't know. But then they get out of the car and they go to like investigate to find out if he's dead. And the doctor reaches down and he's like, you killed him. And he's all pissed at him because the whole time he's saying he's a property of the state. You can't kill him, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like,
I was really excited when he hit him with the truck. I was like, fuck yeah. I was like, that's how you do it, motherfucker.
Yeah, well, he's not dead, but cool. Like, that was dope. And then all of a sudden, like, Officer Hawkins, yeah, goes to I don't know if he's trying to look at him or do whatever the fuck he's doing, but then the doctor takes his pen out, which is a sick pen, by the way.
Turns it into a knife.
And all of a sudden it's a scalpel inside of this dude's fucking pen. And then he stabs fucking Hawkins in the throat and kills him.
Which makes no fucking sense.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, like, he bends down to do something, and Allison's in the back of the cop car, and she's freaking the fuck out, because she's like, what the fuck is going on? And she's locked back there, of course, because you can't unlock the back seat of a cop car from the inside of it. And all of a sudden, the doctor stands up wearing the Michael Myers mask.
Right, well, that was ridiculous.
And then comes after Allison.
And he's like, hey, guys, look at me.
Why?
I know, that was like, no.
I don't know if you heard me, but I just was like, why? Why? What is even fucking going on right now?
See, they were trying to make him like this is the shit that I'm telling you, that they were like trying to pull some stuff from fucking Rob Zombie shit, which is funny because most people who are like, I mean, these are the people that are supposed to be like the original two are the best, or the original is the best, and we're trying to make off the original, and they're pulling from Rob Zombie.
Yeah.
And part two, like, it's so weird to me. Like, I don't know if it's bad taste or I just don't understand it. You know, maybe I'm taking it too seriously.
I don't know.
But they were trying to do the whole crazy Loomis kind of guy, like from Rob Zombie's part two. So I don't know.
There's another scene that felt like ripped out of a Rob Zombie movie too, which bothered me a little bit, but it was cool, but it was still like, really? Like when she's trying to, Allison's like running through the forest or whatever, and she's trying to get home. Or somewhere, wherever the fuck she's trying to go. I don't know. When she stumbles in her grandma's like yard where she shoots the mannequins, like she has target practice on fucking plastic mannequins, and she falls, of course, because you know all fucking white girls fall in the woods for whatever reason when they're getting chased by something. So she falls and she looks around and she's just surrounded by all these mannequins that are disfigured with holes in it all over them because that's what her grandma shoots all the time.
Yeah, Laurie Strode.
And the lighting is all like this blue and stroby, and she's just standing there and she's sitting there screaming. And it's the same type of lighting from House of a Thousand Corpses when they're chasing the girl in the rabbit costume through the fucking forest. And they're screaming, "Run, rabbit, run."
Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah,
and
a little bit.
And it's the same kind of like lighting and effects, at least how I remember it. And I'm just like,
I don't think that they're trying to rip it. I think what it was is they were
that could have been an honest, like just a coincidence to be like for sure. But I was like,
when directors try to build some sort of panic in the actor's mind or for the viewer in the panic's mind, I noticed that they do stuff like that, but it felt so out of place. Like
it was weird.
It's not like I felt like she was really panicking. I was just like, what is going on?
It connected to nothing.
It was
like,
it was well shot and everything was good.
Scene.
It was good, but it just didn't make any sense. Like I didn't feel the panic.
Yeah.
So it didn't make any sense to me.
It literally connected to nothing. Like, there was no purpose for it. So that was my biggest thing. So I
think there was a purpose. It just didn't land. Like it was intentionally put there to make you feel like she's freaking out. And it's like, but then she like acts kind of normal when she gets in the house. So I don't really understand.
I still don't feel like she was that necessary of a character, honestly. So I don't know. Everything for her felt so much like an afterthought to me, and like none of her scenes really connected or worked and fit. And I don't know.
I just think
she was okay, but
and they were talking about making another sequel back to back.
No.
Like, wait, what?
No.
What, with her? Is she going to be the new Michael Myers?
That's what I'm saying. Like that's what it feels like.
Please, no. Stop it. We tried that in part 4, didn't we? Or 5?
That's what it fucking feels like to me, is like how they ended it is that's what they're going to end up doing. And I'm like...
Which is like, it's so confusing to me. Like, I'm not angry. It's just confusing. You refute the fact that she was Michael Myers' brother or sister or whatever. So we take that out. But now you're going to go back to the thing that made the worst, one of the franchise, some of the worst ones. You're going to try to spin it back into that? Would they do that? Like, I hope not. What does Michael come back as, the burnt man? He's not the boogeyman.
That's how Freddy comes at us. He's Freddy. That's what's going to happen. Now he's Freddy and he comes to you in your sleep.
Oh my God.
This is the birth of Freddy Krueger, you guys.
Which, yes, I understand I'm being a little hypocritical by talking about bringing him back from the second original one, but... I mean, do you jive with what we're saying? I mean, I'm not trying to upset you guys. Like, if you like it, I'm happy you like it. I really am.
So am I.
But for me, it just feels kind of like, it's just like making a playground out of stuff that it really didn't need to make a playground out of.
I still have so many questions.
What was we didn't do
my questions.
We didn't do the funny scenes. Like, what were some funny scenes?
Oh my God, that kid.
That kid was really funny.
He was so funny. Like the stupid kid that her friend's babysitting is like sitting on the couch clipping his toenails. He's just hilarious. Like his fucking attitude and the way they talk to each other is just really funny. Yeah. And she's trying to
we used to be friends.
She's trying to hint at her friend that she's talking to on the phone. She's trying to hint at Allison on the phone that her boyfriend's bringing over weed or whatever. And he's like, bitch, I know you just invited your friends over here to do something
Well,
and
she
smoke
said
weed.
abracadabra or some
Alakazam.
shit. Alakazam.
He's
He's
like,
like,
no, like a abracadabra, like a magic trick. And he's like, I know you're talking about smoking weed.
and he's like, I'm going to tell. And she's like, oh, yeah, well, I'm going to tell your browsing history to your parents.
He's like, you wouldn't.
He's like, you better not. She's like, you used to be my favorite to watch out of the 10 kids I watch.
Yeah.
It was kind of a nice camaraderie. It was cute.
It was super cute. And then and then when they start dying,
it got a little silly there.
well, the kid, he just like, that kid is a smart kid, man.
Yeah, he was
just
like,
takes
fuck
off.
that.
He's all bye, and he's like, you gonna die, Dave?
He's like, oh, I gotta help her. He's like, you gotta die, Dave. I'm out.
Yeah.
And then what happened to him?
I don't know.
You
But
don't even, he just like ran off into the dark.
He was probably in that group of people consoling Allison on the porch.
Right.
I don't fucking know. Like, he just disappeared. Like, he's fine. He went and fucking opened a casino in fucking Atlantic City. Like, I don't know what happened to him in his life, but I feel
now
like
he's the Michael Myers.
he's going to be Michael Myers in the next one. And god damn it, that would be great.
It's so funny to me. But I don't know, man. I'm just, it
was just great.
There was some funny shit in the movie, but
she's like, help me. I'm gonna go get help. And runs down the stairs.
I like the whole like scene where she's trying to close the closet door, but we saw that in the trailer or some sort of
It
clip,
was in the trailer.
some teaser or something.
Like, I was like, oh, it's gonna happen now. Okay, cool.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think they showed too much. They should have just. It might have had more of an impact, maybe.
I also wish in the beginning when the reporters are there talking to him or trying to talk to him in the yard, and all the insane people around him start like going mildly crazy, and the dog's barking because they have the mask out.
That
which
was
I thought was a
cool.
really cool scene. I just wish that he would have like somehow killed everybody then and there, and that's how he got out. That would have been way cooler.
See, that's them riding the line between supernatural and
He is supernatural.
right. Well, some people say they like their Michael Myers regular.
He's not a person. He's not a
A
regular
lot of people
human.
said it actually. A lot of
He
people.
got shot 7 times. He's not a regular person. Well, so did 50
Right.
Cent. So I guess he is a real person. So,
That's a good
but
point.
he fell out
Maybe
of windows.
50 Cent is him.
He got. It's 50 Cent. Oh my God, we solved the mystery.
I don't know.
Myers and 50 Cent are the same person.
I don't know what else to bring up other than that.
Oh, also he got burned alive. So, and he was fine. So he's not human. there's
Right.
that. And he didn't turn into Freddy. So there's that.
I like that end scene though. When she pulls that bar, I was not
That
expecting
thing was
it to
so
be.
sick, and I wish he would have got caught in it.
Yeah, I was
'cause that
not
would've been
expecting it to be a trap. Like
It's a trap.
I was like, oh, okay, well that kind of makes sense. It was kind of nice watching the flames, but they didn't show him burning or anything, so of course they leave it open.
Yeah, I just like how he's standing there staring like a child that's like very angry but also confused.
He just gets in that shutter. There you go, dude.
Yeah.
But wouldn't he run out of air because of the fire? Because she has that gun rack in there, and
Yeah.
she pulls the shutter up to get into the gun rack. He could have very well slid that down. Because
He ain't
Michael
dead.
Myers is pretty fucking smart in
He
this
ain't
movie,
dead.
by the way.
He's extremely smart.
Like, really fucking smart.
He's not dead.
But see, it's that
He's
kind
had
of...
40 years to sit there and think about what he was going to do. Hell yeah, he's smart.
Well, yeah, and then in the original movie, he learned to drive without ever having to drive. So, I mean, he's really smart. Well, and not only that, but I just feel like if they were to make a sequel and it was, he was hiding in the fucking gun thing with the metal sheet.
Like Alex nailed it.
It's like this is what I'm talking about. Like
he would have melted in there.
That's the kind of ridiculousness that it is in a way. I mean, yeah, Michael Myers gets shot a lot and doesn't die. That's kind of ridiculous in its own self. But in the same respect, it's also kind of kooky and
gets burned alive in the
stupid
second one.
and spoofy. Like when you turn it into this like weird like menagerie
Yeah.
of fucking ideas.
But it's like he gets blinded and burned alive in number 2.
It's true.
And and then he's fine when he comes back. So I'm like, so I'm saying he's not human.
So maybe this was just Danny
supernatural.
McBride's way of rewriting part 2 to his liking.
I guess. I don't know. Number 2 is awesome though, and you're wrong. So like,
I know a lot of people that really do like that. I've always
love
considered
the
the first
second
two fine. I had nothing to do with, no problem with it. It wasn't, directed by fucking John Carpenter or anything, but it was a different approach, and they showed a lot more of Michael Myers behind the camera, you know what I mean? Like behind him. So you got to see him kind of moving around a little bit. So it was a little different, but there were some cool scenes in that.
Yeah. Well, this is one of the things that I like too about this movie, I will say, is there was a lot of Michael Myers in it, and I was perfectly fine with that
Yeah.
because he's fucking cool, man. He's a cool killer, and he's a cool character, and he's hot.
Well, and I actually think it could have been better for him if they would have done it. It would have flowed a little bit better.
If he got naked, I agree.
I don't know about that. That's like some weird fucking like
with the mask on.
What do they call it?
Just naked from the neck down.
What do they call it? Creepypasta. That's like what creepypasta turns into porn.
Probably on. I'm gonna look for it.
A lot of creepypasta turns into porn.
Well, there's that picture I posted yesterday when Michael Myers has the fucking pumpkin face tattooed on his butt, and I was like,
right.
Yes!
I saw that picture, yeah.
Amazing.
What did you guys think, though? Like, if you saw it and you've listened this far, you've obviously seen the movie. Do you agree with us? I mean, are you mad at us? I mean, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to sit here and pretend, oh, it's a great movie. No, I really don't care if it is or not. I want it to be. But I don't think it was a really disappointment.
Sugarcoat nothing.
Yeah, should have been better than it was. It wasn't the worst in the franchise, that's for damn sure.
Yes.
But I would love to hear what you guys think. Let us know in the comments down below. Now next week we're going to be watching a couple of movies, I think. I don't even know what we're going to be watching.
I don't know.
So guys, next week we will be back. We'll be watching a couple of movies. I will post early to let you guys know. So you're going to want to stay locked to our social media and anywhere we post stuff, because we're going to tell you what movies we're going to be watching as soon as possible. I'm going to try to get this out.
Pick something good, because it'll be the last episode too for us for October.
Yeah, because we're going to be taking a week off from the 20. Well, we'll have an episode on the 29th, but we are not going to be recording an episode for the 5th. So between the 29th, we'll have an episode for you on the 29th so you can listen for Halloween. But after that, we're taking a well-deserved break and trying to work on some stuff, maybe just taking a nap.
Yeah.
Like anything.
Literally.
But we love you guys, and we will see you next week. So as always, thank you guys for stopping by, and
stay weird, monsters.
Tune in every Monday for a brand new episode.